Hello, I'm Jennifer Firestein, Associate State Director for AARP Michigan, and welcome to Learn a Latte, our Wednesday morning speaker series, where we bring to you a variety of compelling and interesting topics. So sit back, relax, and learn over a cup of coffee, tea, or latte. Learn a Latte is the first and third Wednesday of each month right here live on Facebook, or you can watch it on YouTube. The benefit of watching live is you get to ask your questions and have them answered. So go ahead and put them in the comment section and we'll answer them throughout the presentation. This is being recorded, so you have the opportunity to come back and watch it again or share it with others. So today's Learn a Latte topic is finding your life's purpose. People are living longer, so they need purpose longer. Not an easy subject to tackle, but we've got a great speaker who's going to help break this down. Darlene Larson knows disappointment like they're her best friends, emotional abuse, infertility, the death of her father and brother, home foreclosure, divorce, a torn family, and lots of chaos. And much more emotional pain all occurring while she prayed for the discovery of her life purpose and read scripture daily to find the strength she needed to continue. So professionally, she's a professional certified life purpose coach, a grief loss coach, recovery coach, and life coach, and is the founder of Hearts with a Purpose. She coaches women who are harried, hurting, and hungry, guiding them to discover their life purpose. Her journey has led her to write 4 books so far. And whether Darlene is coaching, writing, speaking, or hanging out with family and friends, you will always find her wearing a pair of fun dangling earrings. She loves a bold cup of coffee and dark chocolate with almonds, and she relishes a daily walk in the 4-season state of Michigan. Right now, it's going to be close to just a winter season of Michigan. So welcome, Darlene.
Jennifer, thank you so much. It's a joy to be here and an honor, and welcome to all of our attendees today.
Yeah, thank you. And you have such an incredible story, and I know you'll get into it. But, you know, when people need purpose, that's what allows them to live a healthier life. When they have purpose, it reduces stress, it reduces inflammation, it improves their mental well-being. We've done at AARP a lot of research around purpose and life longevity, and according to science, people who have a higher sense of purpose live about 7 years longer than those who don't. So it's an important component of life. So you're going to talk about this and how we discover it, because it's not an easy subject to tackle.
No, it's not. And it's a process and a journey, really, to keep thinking and how your story unfolds. And so we will definitely cover a lot of ideas and suggestions for our audience. Absolutely.
And there are 4 questions that you kind of pose to ask the question of what does it mean to have your life purpose?
Right. And these are questions that all of us ask in one shape or form. And so let's just get right into these questions. And we will be having a poll from our audience, because I want to hear from you. Which one of these resonates the closest to your heart? Whenever I speak in person or online, I want to hear from my audience. So we'll be taking that poll. So which do you say to yourself the most? Is this all there is to life? You know, why am I still alive? And I think there's more, but what is it? And that was one of my big ones, Jennifer. Number 4, I have so many regrets. How can I go forward? And there are more, but these 4, I just wanted us to focus on. So the poll will pop up, and please post which one resonates the most, or take the poll, and we'll share that data in a moment.
Yeah, and people can comment in there too. So if they want to just, put in the comment section the number of the question that resonates most with them. For me, Darlene, it's that 3rd one, like you said. I think there's more, but what, right? It's like, what more is there? And I look at my life and I go, okay, if I live to be 100 years old, I'm not quite yet at the halfway point. I'm a year out from it, but not quite. And I think that's a lot of time left to still figure out what's left. What more is there? 50 more years ahead of me.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that Jennifer, because that's where I want to take us, is to look that way instead of through the rear view mirror of our life, because that's where we get stuck. And so, as you're collecting data, we can move on. And I want to share this little exercise with a tape measurement. And the tape measurement is a quilting tape measurement. Now, the reason is because, as you said, Jennifer, people are living longer. It's 120 inches with a quilt. And I like how you just segued so nice into this without even, I don't think, recognizing or knowing where I was going. But you said, you're 49, and thank you for sharing that. And of course, you can't see this as on the screen, but when I coach individuals, I run it all the way out and say, your story does connect. And Jennifer, all of your story, and I know a little bit about it, but all of it does connect. And I know you have a passion right where you're at with the people group that you're working with. And so as I hold it up, and that's where usually in the 40s, people start asking, how does this all connect? And it does connect in our story. And all of this in our past, whether you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, which I coach individuals in their 80s, Jennifer, that all of this is meant to go forward. And so Jennifer said, she's 49 young. And that's what I say. How young are you? Because it's a mindset we have to get our thoughts around, because what do you want to do forward with your life? And I am a life purpose coach. And when you say that, Jennifer, here's another 30 years. Jennifer, if you can see it a little bit, that's a lot of time yet. Like you said, what am I going to do with myself? Well, you do have a plan. There is a plan to your life. And so with all of these stories, what I want to show you here is with these coaching worksheets in the background here is because there are certain areas in your life. All right, well, look at this one. And on this one, if you grab it or see it, it's the process of life page. And this is a very important page. And we're going to spend about 5 minutes on this page or right around there. But if you look at the ladder page, I would love for you to answer, where are you at on this ladder page? And how far are you willing to travel up on the ladder? And I know at one time in my story, Jennifer, I was at the bottom and I didn't realize I was in denial because of my story of living for over a quarter of a century in a very toxic marriage. And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get going forward. I couldn't look through the windshield of my life. I kept looking backwards and piecing my stories together, which your stories do fit once we dig into them and examine them. And we are to listen to our life. And so I would ask you, where are you at on this ladder? And then how far are you willing to travel up the ladder?
Mm-hmm. So Darlene, we're posting these worksheets that you're going to be referencing in the comment section so people can download them. And we've got the poll ready to go. So actually, you know what? Nope, it's a Facebook issue. The poll is not working. So what we're going to do is have people just put their question of what they're asking in their own lives in the comment section. So
wonderful.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
We'll
so all right. So go ahead. Wonderful.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because we look at this ladder of hope and the process of life, and it's not linear in the sense that it's not like once you've reached that one ladder that you won't ever go backwards on it, right? Because
but I think once you're aware of this, Jennifer, you really want to keep moving. You want to. Now, I've had many times clients say, well, Darlene, I'm on a couple of these. For example, I'm on bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And working through stages of life, and especially grief and loss, that, yes, you do straddle a couple of them. But the key is you want to keep going up. But look at the words to the right, Jennifer. Those words really cause us to get stuck, and we have to learn how to grow out of them and really shrink them. For example, I was the queen of fear one time until really God dethroned me, and I do coach faith-based, but I was trapped by fear, and I had to learn how to get that monster off of me. And I wanted the joy. So if you look at the top list on the left, I wanted a vision. I wanted passion. Now I knew it was teaching, but I was burnt out from teaching in my early 40s. My life was out of balance. I couldn't figure out my stories. I could up until a certain time in my life, and then everything went chaos. So I was living out of the fear. I had a lot of anger I had to work through in my story, and then confusion. And I had to learn how to starve those out and head towards that list on the top left. The passion, the vision, the satisfaction, the joy. And so I was straddling some. Many times clients are straddling some, and they're like, okay, I want to go. I want to know more. I want that dream. I want to step into those healthy relationships.
So the comments that people are posting in the comment section are really kind of running across the board as far as the four questions. So majority answered, I think there's more, but what? And then the second came in place was, I have so many regrets. How can I move forward? And then a couple of people responded, is there all to this? Is this all there is to life? And then why am I still alive? So, but the biggest question, the majority is, I think there's more, but what? And that's what my question was. And that's what resonated with you.
Yes. Yes. And so, you start right there, and that's what coaching is. Like this page here, everybody look at it, examine your life, and that's what is so important is many times we just want to go, Jennifer, we just want to move. I just want to go. I want to get going. But see, we have to examine our life right where we're at in order to get going. Just like if you were to walk into a mall, a brand new mall, and you wanted to get to, let's say, a Barnes and Noble. Well, okay, I don't even know where I'm at. So I got to go to that map, right? And I have to take inventory. Okay, so here I am on the map. Now I want to get over there. And that's what we need to do with our own lives. We need to take inventory. And that's what I chose to do in my early 40s. Before I began life purpose coaching. Coaching wasn't even out then, Jennifer, in my story. But I knew I was to teach. I knew I was to speak. I just was burnt out of teaching children. And that's when the shift came. I knew it was the curriculum. See, the teaching was there, but the shift had to come. It was the curriculum away, and it was women. And so women's material, women studying. And I happened to pick up a book that year, right after losing a brother. And it was boom. It was life purpose coaching. So I'm really passionate about purpose. And every one of you who answered these questions or will even look later, you do have a purpose that will excite you to get up out of bed. And we're going to look at a sheet coming up that will help more with that. Okay, and the next coaching sheet as well. This one, Jennifer, if everyone took time and really dived into this one, oh goodness. And so I'm going to zoom through on this one, but your past, you do want to examine your past, your grief, loss, and as well as the accomplishments. Many times those accomplishments that we do in life, let's say you were in corporate America you retired out of there, or a professor at a college and you retired, but that cancer or that loss of a child, that past, you do have to look at those stories parts. And then your early learning. Okay, this sets us up with some limiting beliefs. If I had $1 for every person I've coached that said I'm not good enough, I would have 2 homes paid off, brand new, with the I'm not good enough. That is a big one. One of mine was I can't. I picked that up somewhere over my journey that I can't. And so for me to change is I had to starve out that limiting belief. I can't. So look at your early learning, your roles. These are so important. Your roles, your current roles, because roles are a gift. They do not stay the same in life. When I knew in my early 40s, my years of being a daughter were coming to a close. My father had already passed away. My brother had passed away. I was facing death square on. And my mom, we had to place into a care facility. And she had prescription-induced dementia for being on a prescription for too long. And all right, this is what I believe. And my mom was 81 years old. And so whatever your age is, that to our audience, you do have a purpose. My mom's purpose, even though she slowly left us, was to help the rest of us grieve. Because we could go and talk to her, even though she couldn't see us couldn't communicate. She made noise and reference when we looked at pictures together of my dad and brother. So you have a life purpose to your last breath. If it's not, you can't see it, believe me, you're touching other people's lives. And so it's so important. Look at your roles right now. And some of you may be caregivers. Some of you may be grandparents. Some of you are like, I want more. I don't know what to be doing. Self-sabotage, that's a big one. Big one. We like those lists on the first coaching page, we sit in that bottom right list, the fear. You have to look at those. You have to say, I don't want that anymore. And then, yes, right there, that bottom right list. Yes. Worry, bitterness. We can stay stuck in those and we want to go forward. So we need to let go of those. So back to the perspective page, and you'll notice this perspective page. Many of you have said, well, I think I'm supposed to do something, but what else? What more? Well, this page will help you if you take time and begin to write down your answers. Passion. What do you get lost in for hours? Mine is teaching. Mine was reading women's books back then. And now it's coaching, speaking, and it's writing. Just give me a water and a coffee once in a while and I'll come up for air. But, speaking, I could speak all day at women's events and just keep on going. Now your epitaph, that's a different thing to look at on your tombstone, but really it's your life message. It's burning in you, and you all have a life message. It burns in you. You want it to bring that up and use that. Your characteristics, your talents. It's the way you're wired. It's patterns. It's the abilities. You all have them. You all have skill sets. And then inspiration. What inspires you? And also, I must say, discovering your core values. That's really, really important. We're going to talk about that briefly. That's coming up, your values. And then examples of role models. Who are your heroes? Who do you look up to? So Jennifer, which one of these jumps out to you?
For me right now, in my place of life, it's roles, because I'm nearing the empty nest stage of life. I have currently a senior in high school and a sophomore in high school. My senior will be going off to college next year, and then my sophomore is just 2 years behind. And I'm already seeing the transition. My oldest son is moving out to Seattle in a couple of weeks, so he's really flying the coop. He doesn't live here currently, but he's still in Grand Rapids. And so he'll be flying and moving across the country. My middle son then will be going off to college, and I'm going to be facing the empty nest stage. So for me, my role and my purpose for the last, 2.5 decades has been being a mom. And I look at that and go, how am I going to be needed? What's my purpose when I don't have kids in my home to rear and steer?
Oh, Jennifer, you are spot on, right? And then the word you used is, where am I going to be needed? And we all want to be needed. And I want you to know there is a people group. And when we go to the next slide, this may help you more with the PowerPoint, is the grief and loss. So here's an exercise I suggest is hold up your hands, everybody. And, think of your stories of life. And usually it's going to be on this page of grief and loss somewhere. Now, let me share. This is copyrighted page. So I ask to remind our audience, this one you can get on my website at heartswithapurpose.com. The reason this is not in a PDF for everyone is because it's being looked at for a book that I've written on grief and loss. There are over 120 boxes of grief and loss, Jennifer, and to our attendees. So if you go to my website, you can download this free. You can print it off, and I suggest you take inventory. If I were to say there's an area that stops many people, it's right here. And yet, Jennifer, what you just said is that, okay, so who's going to need me? So Jennifer, with what I suggest is we all put out our hands and we say, okay, so what people group do I want to help, and what is the pain points in my life story or something that I want to impact that group with? I want to help them. And, think of cancer survivors that we have here. Think of moms that have miscarried, parents that have lost a child. Think of all of those pain points. And many times with grief and loss, we can think of it's just a death. Oh my goodness, grief and loss, no. Grief and loss, 120 some packages here on this page. A loss of a pet, loss of a job. I want to use my quilting ability. And so with this grief and loss area, it's really important you take inventory. And this will probably clue you in of where that need that you want to help others in. And Jennifer, one thing I want to say, and to those in our audience that are approaching the empty nest, it's really, really important especially for women, that you let your child go. Let them grow. Don't become, as I say, a Klingon mom. Don't do that. And the reason is because you want them to grow up. The
Right.
issue is where mothers get in trouble is, well, if I let them grow up, then who is going to need me? Well, I want you to know you have a purpose. You have a purpose beyond being a mom. You really do. That so will excite you. My mom's, before she ended up in a care facility, was making homemade cinnamon rolls. Jennifer, she made them and she handed them out to everybody in the community. Knew my mom. I'm surprised she could have made a mint on those and that recipe made out of homemade mashed potatoes, raised right on a farm here in Michigan. But I want you to know that you do have a purpose beyond being a mom. I struggled with this immensely. I was being shifted in my 40s, and I had to let my children go, and not the way I had planned on either. And that was the question I asked God, who needs me?
Right. So, Darlene, question for you. So, does your purpose ever stay the same? Is there a thread that holds it together, or is it constantly evolving?
No, I think there's threads that hold it together. And if we go on to the next page, we'll dig into that a little bit more, Jennifer, because that's a really good one. And so if everybody has this page, or take a picture of this page, is fine, and go ahead and write in it. But let me work through that, Jennifer, and I'll answer your question because, for example, I knew teaching was in me, Jennifer, but that was out before even they had on Zooms. And I mean, the computer, I developed with the computer and learning technology. And then all of a sudden, I stood at chalkboards, blackboards, whiteboards, and then all of a sudden we're going online. And so I had to learn a new skill set of how do you teach online. And so that thread for me was the teaching gift all the way through. Everyone has a skill set. And the thing is, anything in our backstory, skill, or we were a career, let's say nursing, medical, doctor, professor, any of those in our backstory are to go forward. We don't delete those. And so, Jennifer, with our purpose, it's like, don't think of discover more of you. There's more of you. And let me give you a real quick example. Is an author friend of mine said to me when I started writing, she says, well, you're just becoming more of who you were meant to be. And that was like, oh, whoa. It was like, oh, wow. I never thought of it that way. And so you all have done your purpose up until this point. But because you answered that question, I think there's more. There is more. You just have to go after it. And you have to, it's an unfolding as you step. So roles, write down your roles. It's important you pay attention to those roles, just like you said, Jennifer. Then your values, those are big. Your values is what is your underpinning. They're your guiding principles. Some of the values, everybody's values are different. I have a list of like 30 to 50. So it could be travel. It could be learning. It could be family. It could be adventure, a team player. It could be justice, faith, wealth, purpose. And so it's important. You have to think back already in your story and say, what have been your values? Because your job or what you're doing now tells you a lot about who you are and what you value. Does that make sense with your values?
Yeah.
Those are huge. Strengths, okay. Talents, your spiritual gifts, all of your personality, how you're hardwired, even those stretching experiences. My stretching experience, one of my leverages is pain, emotional pain. And so that's a leverage that I can sit. If I were to sit on a teeter-totter, I would go flying high. So let me ask you this on your strengths. What leverage makes you uniquely you? That's important. Character weakness, those are some of the limiting beliefs. Those are some of the things that stop us, that we do have to take inventory. Of course, down in number 5, rediscover you. That's like rediscover more of who you are meant to become. We are to grow until our last breath. One lie that stops many of us is, well, I can't learn anymore. Oh, please don't do that. I mean, I want us to think, even as we graduate, we retire, we shift out of careers. Oh my goodness. Think of riding a bike. You learned how to ride a bike because you wobbled. and then you got back on and you kept going. It's the same as we season, Jennifer. It's whether we're in our 50s, when we're in 60s. I mean, I have a professor who's in her 70s that's writing her first book. I have a woman who's in her 80s. She quilts for all of her grandchildren, and she just created her own quilt pattern because she wanted it this way. And so it's like we never stop learning. And if you think, well, I can't do that, yes, you can. And you have to change that mindset as well.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because we have this, I guess, campaign called Disrupt Aging, and it's really about helping people to dispel the myths of ageism, right? There's so many things that hold us back, like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and I'm too old for that, and a lot of those self-limiting beliefs that we all hold on to. So the Disrupt Aging campaign that AARP has is really helping people to understand that, like you said, you have purpose until your very last breath. And we're going to post in the comment section here a link to our Disrupt Aging page. And what's cool about this page is that it's stories of people that are living to 100 years old and what kind of purpose they're finding still at 100 years old. So that link is in there. I encourage the viewers to go to that, because it's just really inspirational. Because sometimes we get stuck and think, well, you know, I'm 80, there's not much left in life, and you could still live 20 more years.
Absolutely. And, you know, Jennifer, that's just what you said with yours. What am I going to do? And I mean, I thank you for asking yourself that question. And there is more. And I love that I love what you guys are doing. Awesome. Let's go on to the next page, because I really want to challenge us as I look at our clock here. But I want you to think of you as the little red berries. And this truly was taken in Michigan at the last blizzard we had. And your purpose will allow you to pop. It will allow you to sing. It will allow you to get out of bed every day. And it will so excite you that your days will be so filled up. And it may be that you love to drive people around, that you love to drive and deliver people here, there. Then that's where your heart sings. Now, you may be a musician and you want to have one of your songs created. Then you head towards that. You go to conferences, you learn, and you keep stepping out. It's so important. But see, your purpose allows you to pop, smile, enjoy life, and to give out to impact others, because that's what you want. And you do have more to offer. It's just the continuing growing and stepping into it. And so the question I want to challenge you all with is to ask yourself, what do you want in 2023? Many people don't even ask this question. You may, well, I'm going to set a resolution. No, I would suggest you look at your purpose and you say, okay, I want to step out. Now, this may be hard or fearful, but yes, you step out, because we know anything that's worth it in life is going to be hard. I mean, think about it. And so answer this question. What do you want? Do you want more of the joy, the passion, the vision in your life? Then you've got to take a step.
And I love this. And what a beautiful photograph. It looks like a painting.
It was right outside my back patio,
oh
Jennifer.
My gosh, absolutely gorgeous. And what I love is that we're on the precipice of starting a new year, right? And I always look at the end of the year and think about, how do we reflect back, right? What do we look at over the course of 2022 and say, what goals did we have for ourselves that we didn't accomplish? What unexpectedly came our way that maybe, changed the direction of our life unexpectedly that we weren't anticipating. So I love that we can reflect back on it. And that's why we did this series topic at the end of the year. And now we can look into 2023 and ask ourselves, what do we want? And what is our purpose going to be for the next upcoming year?
Absolutely. And I would challenge our audience as a coach, that's what I do, is take a step and don't let fear stop you. Do not. And it's up to you to take the step.
And so, Darlene, if people want to get a hold of you, because this is something that I think we could keep talking about for hours, right? Like you said, you could talk to women all day long about this, and there's just so much more. We're just absolutely scratching the surface. So if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do it? And we've got
go right to heartsforthepurpose.com. And Jennifer, I also have on there a download that they can pick up my first book free in a PDF. It's right there, and absolutely.
Okay, and they can email you if they have any questions, and if they need some help, just trying to find out what their purpose is, then they've got a great expert to go to aid in the journey.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you, Darlene. So to our viewers, thank you for joining us. Learn a Latte is the first and third Wednesday of each month. We encourage you to go to our AARP Michigan Facebook page to see all the other events that we have going on. You can also go to aarp.org/mi, and we have a list of all of the upcoming virtual and in-person events that you can tap into. So thank you to our viewers, and Darlene, thank you for your talent and for finding your life purpose to help other people find theirs.
Thank you, Jennifer, very much.